Yeah, let's keep the conversation going on Netflix's second quarter earnings. Let's bring in Anthony Palomba. He's professor of business administration for Darden School of Business at the University of Virginia. So, Anthony, let's talk about the numbers we got yesterday. The stock is still up 3% in the session today, but the verdict was sort of things aren't great, but they're not as bad as we thought they were. Is that kind of the bar for Netflix now?
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian and Akiko, for having me. I'm sorry I'm not wearing Netflix red like you both are at the moment here. I think when we start thinking about how to evaluate Netflix, there are a few messages here. So for one, there were catastrophic headwinds that I think everybody has been experiencing now. Consumers are getting out of the pandemic. They have to kind of reconcile what kind of streaming services should we have, do we need, do we use? There's also content confusion there with which show is on what platform, and that's for another day. Additionally here, with Netflix losing 970,000 subscribers against the 209 million or so that it has, this is 0.005 of a percentage. So let's put the loss in subscribers in perspective. It is a wildly successful and embraced platform. And I think what we're seeing with Netflix and a few other streaming services that have been commenting on paring down spending is they might be looking for other KPIs to be evaluated by, right? We're seeing Amazon and Apple looking at live sports, and we're looking at Netflix looking at an ad-tiered supported service as well as a gaming channel. And so it may very well be that moving forward, the amount of subs that you have may no longer be the paramount KPI for a lot of these streaming services.
Anthony, we love talking about KPIs on this program, and I think I do want to note that, as you mentioned, it's not going to be subscribers that's necessarily going to be the fixation, but whether or not you can keep revenue up. It's not going to grow like it did in its early years, but the focus a lot is on that other revenue stream that could come from that ad-supported platform, which it sounds like we're still a little ways off from still. How do you think that's going to impact the business? Do you see a lot of people willing to take that trade-off and say, I'm going to spend a little bit less, but deal with the ads on my couch?
I do. I think people are malleable, perhaps more so than we care to admit as people. But this is a learned media behavior, right? We learned binge watching from Netflix. We learned Netflix and chill from Netflix. We've learned about how to carry our shows with us as well, the portability of accessing phones and other kinds of devices. Advertising is nonetheless very much similar to this. We found in research that personalized advertisements are far more attractive to people than non-personalized advertisements. And most people will find personalized advertisements not as ad intrusive as those that are non-personalized. And so if a lot of these streaming services can exploit their data, get a sense of who their customers are, and personalized advertisements, it's a boon for the brands because they're less maligned. And it's a boon for Netflix and a lot of other streaming services that are able to raise their revenue streams. And this also goes hand in hand with programmatic advertising, which we're seeing in which advertisements are being programmed and calculated for when people are online or on particular websites. And so this further refinement and personalization, I think, will be very, very attractive for both parties, both the streamers and both audience members as well.
Anthony, how do you think advertisers are looking at Netflix as a platform to utilize? I mean, you know, in many ways, like you said, we've kind of come accustomed to looking at ads on other platforms, streaming platforms like a Hulu. But this is still a new experience because Netflix was the one where you didn't have to deal with ads.
No, Netflix was the one that we didn't have to deal with ads. And this was codified. It was in the Constitution, the social contract for all of us as consumers, right? This was one thing we were not going to have to deal with. But on a digital platform like Netflix, and this can be extended out to a Hulu or to a Disney, we're seeing the ability to measure different moments with audiences. We think along the consumer journey, I'm looking for, let's say, a particular shampoo. I might look it up online. I might go here. I might go there. If Netflix can measure me viewing a particular show, I'm thinking of Stranger Things, the 5th season, because all of us can't wait to see what happens. If there's a particular shampoo there, and they can also see if I'm purchasing the shampoo on the Netflix platform, now we begin to have this contained ecosystem in which they can begin to see point blank what I'm doing and how I'm operating in a digitalized ecosystem in which I'm clicking on things that I'm seeing in the shows that I might want to purchase. Let's also not forget that Microsoft is in here. They're very much interested in display search ads. This has been something Microsoft has been interested in thinking about, well, where can I populate an advertisement when Anthony or Akiko or Brian are looking up athletic wear or a new car to purchase, right? So there are multiple opportunities here. And remember, Netflix is a channel, a streaming channel or streaming service really dedicated to premier storytelling. We saw this with Black Mirror, with Bandersnatch, right? Kind of a choose your own adventure. What if you were able to build your own advertisement or share it with others or engage or interact with advertisements that impacted the story? Places like Netflix that are on the cutting edge of being cutting edge are the places in which we can see these kinds of advertisements that I think will be in far stark contrast to what we see on linear television.
I don't know, Anthony. You got me thinking about how my Netflix experience is now going to change with the ads.
Stranger Things shampoo?
I
don't know.
Yeah. We're going to debate this, but I appreciate you stopping by today. Anthony Palomba, Professor of Business Administration for Darden School of Business.